Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 30th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good on a Tuesday. Let's see. Work was solid. Had a couple of slow moments where I just got to kind of kick back, so that's always nice. But let me talk about yesterday. Yesterday was a kind of an interesting walk, an interesting little walkabout I had after I did my episode. So I go on a walk, and the initial idea is I just want to listen to Brat. I figured, it's been in the it's been a lot of hubbub in the pop circle, and I've listened to some singles and definitely was like, okay, I like the singles. I tried to listen to like a little bit more, and I kind of wasn't feeling it, so I kind of had like a weird bias about it. Plus, Charlie XCX is kind of, I don't know, hot and cold to me, depending on, on and off, in or out of the studio, whatever. So I was like, all right, that's my resolution. Let's go on this walk. Let's listen to Brat. It's Brat Summer. Let's figure it out. Because that's another thing too. I honestly was a little confused, I feel like it's weird when you listen to a thing and it's confusing to you. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a guy and this is an album about being a girl. Anyway, so I'm on this walk, right? And like I walk up out of my drive area onto the street, and like no sooner than I do that, I see a dead fucking raccoon. I was like, and I'm like, this isn't very pop. This isn't very pop girly. So I didn't feel good about that. Tried to laugh that off. Went through, the cycles of death. I mean, hey, it's a dead animal, but, I just don't like seeing that shit. So that was weird. But overall, I guess we can just kind of get to my review of the album. I would say it was pretty good. And I say that because, like, at first, like I said, I kind of came into confused. I definitely kind of came in feeling like, oh, this is a very singles-driven album. I don't know how I feel too much about the concept or whatever, but let's see. And I feel like, no, it's overall cool. I liked that there was, like, a lot of almost, like, stream of conscious in it. Like it felt like you were in her head. And I think that that's where maybe I was just confused. 'Cause I'm like, yeah, like, this is very much a girl-coded experience, and that's a part of it. So naturally, like, a song where she's talking about confusing being a girl is going to be confusing to me. And then I heard the remix with Lorde, who I love Lorde. So I was like, wait, this is about her? And then you got her on the song? That blew my shit out. I didn't, like, it was a lot. It was a lot to process, okay? But overall, I would say it was a good album. I still kind of lean on the idea of, like, definitely a lot of singles. But I would say, like, as I was listening, maybe around, like, halfway through, it was like giving me like Lily Allen vibes when I was growing up, and like how I felt about Lily Allen listening to her, where I was like, I don't always love Lily Allen, but I will always love like certain singles and like listening to certain albums and how I felt listening to those albums. So like I get it. I get where the youth is at. They're all right for liking this shit. So it definitely feels like, what is it? It's Chappelle Roan and Charlie XCX. I mean, shit. So, I mean, hey, the kids are all right. Anyway, so that's my music review there. Also, a little bit before we get into, like, the main news, and this is a bit, side, whatever. But kind of, I guess, talking about Marvel, I did go see, what was it, Deadpool and Wolverine, so it's kind of, in the boat. But, and not to mention, too, there's news outlets, like, talking about it, too, and I missed it. I was like, I can't believe you guys are talking about some fucking Marvel news, like some Comic-Con bullshit. But it was unveiled at, San Diego Comic-Con, that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be coming back. So it's like, oh shit, okay. But he's coming back as Doctor Doom. So I was like, okay, that's cool. That's major. Doctor Doom's definitely one of my favorite villains. Not my favorite, but he's up there. Maybe in like top 5. So I'm excited to see what's going to come of this. I know that there's some people who might be a little butthurt, but this isn't the first time that they've switched up a character. And I think it also kind of adds up where they're like, oh man, we're kind of like, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have a Kang. We don't want to like replace Majors and continue this. We kind of want to scrap the whole idea for now. So what do we do? Like, and it kind of just lines up, right? And I hear the mixed reviews for the Deadpool Wolverine shit. I think the fans love it, but the critics are like, this is the death of film. This is the death of theater. I'm like, what are you guys like? Why are you guys so dramatic? Like, Marvel makes a decent ass movie for like fucking one and like since Endgame, and you guys are fucking crying. Like, it's unnecessary. Like, I think movies are just dead in general, and like, I don't know, the people who really love the movies are gonna go out and see the movies they like. Like, it's just that simple. We're not in the golden era anymore. Motherfuckers just gotta get over it. But anyway, back to that situation with Robert Downey Jr. Being Doctor Doom. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. It definitely does, like I said, feels like, hey, we're trying to just kind of target correct, I guess some more kind of nerd Marvel movie shit. Fantastic Four revealed that it's going to be Galactus. So, like, that's kind of cool in terms of the villain. We'll see how that goes. Though, I mean, shit, every Fantastic Four has been bad. I will admit, though, me as a kid, I liked the first run of it, like Jessica Alba and was it Michael Chiklis with the Thing? Like, I don't know, that was fine for me. I didn't hate that. I didn't boo that one, but it just seemed like it just ran out of road. And then when they rebooted it, it was bad. And I mean, now we're trying again. So I mean, hey, I like it's the crew that they've put up. It seems solid. What else from that? Like, I don't remember. I know Thunderbolts also got a trailer, but that, from what I looked, it seemed weird. I didn't like the trailer for that, so I don't know how I feel about it yet. Okay, that's enough nerd shit. I know I kind of did a weird startup, but I felt like it's a good palate cleanser, and I saw a dead raccoon, and I felt a way about it. And I listened to Brat, so, I want to get all this out. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll get into the real shit, the gritty shit. Thanks for, sticking with me. I blogged a little longer there, but, hey. Also, I love that, what was it? Charlie XCX gave Kamala Harris, like, the bump. So, like, that's cool. That's fun. Ooh. Yes, I guess Kamala Harris is Brat, and that's a good thing. Oh boy. Okay. From Axios. A day of chaos in Israel as far-right protesters storm military bases. Israel experienced hours of chaos on Monday after far-right protesters encouraged by ultra-nationalist politicians from the governing coalition broke into a military base where Hamas militants are detained, and another base hosting the Israel Defense Forces military court. So let's scroll ahead here. The military investigation into the actions of 9 reservists began several weeks ago after a Hamas operative who was detained at the facility was rushed to a hospital after bleeding from one of his intimate parts of his body, Israeli military reported. Also, kind of panning back ahead, I'm sorry. Several reports in the Israeli and international press focused on alleged human rights violations at the base, where these Hamas militants were held post like October 7th. And it was described as the Israeli Guantanamo, to kind of give you some context of what was going on in this facility. The IDF had begun to shut down the detention center in recent weeks after facing significant international criticism. Israeli human rights organizations also appealed to the country's Supreme Court about alleged violations at the base. The military investigation into actions of the 9 reservists began several weeks after a Hamas operative... Oh, I already read that part. I'm sorry. The doctor who examined him concluded he suffered injuries he couldn't have inflicted on himself. The reservists were detained in connection with abuses of prisoners that included sexual assault and rape. Israeli media outlets reported. When military police unit arrived at the base, several of the reservists confronted them and refused to come in for questioning. After initial reports and videos of the police raid were posted on social media, ultranationalist ministers Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, and several ministers from Netanyahu's Likud party issued statements condemning the arrest. They said IDF senior command was humiliating soldiers who were facing terrorists and told their supporters they were coming to the base in southern Israel to protest the arrest. Also, it's crazy because I have to remind us that like Ben Gvir controls the military. Like they report to him, which is a weird setup, but he has the reins of power there. So essentially, while this is all going on, they have the police there, but they're not doing anything really. And no one who is doing this situation, or none of these protesters who, and I really want to say rioters, because you literally are raiding military bases and then going to another military base and going to it and raiding that, like, and saying, hey, we're fucking up this court situation. None of those motherfuckers got arrested. None of those motherfuckers got handled. Nothing. They essentially got to act up and while out and do their shit because Ben Gvir says, well, you guys shouldn't be doing this, which is crazy. That's weird. It's weird that this guy who is this political figure is more or less like a police commissioner. It's fucking bizarre, but I mean, hey, they're making their own rules over there. Let's see here. What else did I want to pull? On Monday night, local time, IDF Chief of Staff General Herzi Halevi canceled meetings he was attending about a potential strike against Hezbollah in Lebanon and arrived at the military police quarters, which was surrounded by protesters, the IDF said. And we're going to be getting to Lebanon in a second in the next article. When Halevi arrived at the base, several protesters chanted slogans against him and called him to resign. The IDF also said it had a call to combat units positioned near the West Bank to protect the military base. The protesters left the area around midnight local time. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to pull? Netanyahu didn't comment on the incidents except for a one-line statement in his office issued 2 hours after the first base was stormed, saying he condemned the breaching of the base and calls for immediate calm. Just 2 cabinet members condemned the attack on bases, Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant and Minister of Interior Moshe Arbel. The rest of the government ministers either supported the reservists and attacked the IDF Attorney General or kept silent, which is crazy. Because at the end of the day, this person is trying to prosecute war crimes that everyone internationally is calling out Israel for. Like, they're like, this is happening. We know it. We see it. But once again, when your whole nation state doesn't treat Palestinians like people, well, then this is allowed. This kind of conversation, it makes sense, where it's like, why are you prosecuting your own people who are just soldiers, who are just doing the right thing, who are just defending the country? And it's like, this is not defense of a country. This is an atrocity on an atrocity here that we're talking about. So it's crazy that this is literally a situation that's allowed, where you just have military bases being raided by your own people who are essentially trying to defend rapists. So that's where we're at. I wanted to just state that there. The next article comes from The Guardian. Israel claims it killed Hezbollah top commander in South Beirut airstrike. Israel has claimed it killed Hezbollah's top military commander, Fahd Shakur, in an airstrike on a South Beirut suburb launched in retaliation for a rocket attack that killed 12 children at the weekend. Shakur, also known as Haj Moshin, served as right hand to Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. Israel's military spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said in a statement in a late-night briefing. The IDF will not tolerate terrorist attacks on civilians. We have been responding to these attacks with precise strikes on Hezbollah commanders, top operatives, and military infrastructure in Lebanon, Hagari said. I'm pretty sure that I had mentioned the strike because, like I said, I kind of read it from a blurb in the Washington Post, but I think they had already did one of their quote-unquote calculated strikes and hit like a target that I think wound up killing 2 commanders, and then this was the most recent and kind of bigger. mainly I think because of the location. It hit like more or less in the heart of Lebanon, so it's definitely sending a message of like, we can hit you, which is a known thing, like everyone knows this, but like taking it to this level is one of those things where it's like, yeah, we didn't expect Israel to do this, but at the same time everyone kind of expected Israel to respond, because it's like, hey, 12 people got killed. It doesn't matter whether or not you are going to claim this or not. Like, we're saying it's you. We more or less know it's you. Like, this rocket more or less has your name on it. You can trace it. There's nothing else here. So, we're coming for you. And essentially it's weird how that kind of works in the whole tit for tat of this, where it's like everyone's kind of holding their breath and being like, all right, we just hope that Israel doesn't hit them too hard. And it's like, what, shouldn't we just be saying, no, this shouldn't be happening, like, just stop? But it's like, no, we're just gonna watch it kind of happen. Let's see here. An advisor for planning and directing wartime operations, Sakur was responsible for most of Hezbollah's advanced weaponry, including precision guided, or I can say precise here, precise guided missiles, cruise missiles, anti-ship missiles, long-range rockets, and UAVs, Israel said. He also had a $5 million or a 3.9 million pound bounty on his head in America over his role in the 1983 bombing of a U.S. Marine barracks in the Lebanese capital. Let's see. Lebanon's foreign minister said the strike in Beirut was a shock after assurances from Israel's allies that the country was planning a limited response that would not produce a war. That's what we're afraid of, and hopefully this will not produce a war. Abdallah Bao Habib told The Guardian, "We did not expect to be hit in Beirut. We thought these were red lines that the Israelis would respect." Actually, and don't quote me if I got it wrong in terms of them being the capital. I kind of just shot that from the hip. If I'm wrong, mea culpa. Let's see. Let me read my little highlighted portion here. The attack just after sunset on Tuesday hit a block of flats in Hirit Harek, a suburb known as a Hezbollah stronghold, causing a blast heard across the city. 3 people, including 2 children, were killed and 74 people injured in the attack, the Lebanese Ministry of Health said in a statement. Hezbollah did not comment on the Israeli claims that Shakir had been killed. The top 3 floors of the building collapsed, and rescuers on cranes concentrated their efforts on clearing debris into the night. There might still be people trapped under the rubble, said Ali Abbas, one of the first responders. Shattered glass injured many people in surrounding buildings. Which is another thing I've always want to add in these, once again, these tips for fucking tats, is that, okay, you got a member who was responsible in this, and like, oh yeah, one for America too, awesome. But like, in this process, you killed and injured innocent civilians. This is the thing that always happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to do this corny ass fucking thing, but it's like, yeah, no, violence is not the answer, dude. It's one of those things where once you get to these points, no one fucks with it. No one is happy. And you even go back to the people of Golan Heights. Like, you've had Schmoyrich, who has come through. They jeered, booed that motherfucker. You had Netanyahu come and make statements and being like, yeah, we're gonna fucking, get them for you. It's like, dude, they don't want to see you here. At the end of the day, the people of Golan Heights, they just want to be there and be left alone. They just want peace. They don't want to be involved in this shit, and they're getting dragged into this shit because at the end of the day, fucking Netanyahu doesn't want to make a ceasefire. No one at the top wants to make a ceasefire. Everyone's just fine with just continuing on with this genocide the way that it is. So it's just getting worse, and we're constantly having to ask the question of like, is this going to become an all-out situation? Are we just crashing out in the Middle East? Is that what it is? We all hope no. We hope not. Maybe not, but this shit shouldn't be happening, period. Like, we keep having this like fucking ceasefire talk, and it's just hovering above, but we don't get anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. And it's very frustrating. I really hope that I can, come bearing better news, from this area. But that's what we have for today on that. Let's move to the latter half of the episode. Not that it gets better. There's still loss of life, unfortunately. But it's natural. It's natural disasters. It's not better, but it this is what it is. From CBS News. Landslides in India kill at least 93 people as monsoon rains bring misery, floods, sweep away homes and roads. Let's read. Massive landslides sparked by torrential rains swept away homes and hilly areas of southern India's Kerala state on Tuesday, killing at least 93 and leaving dozens more missing, state officials said. More than 100 people were injured and admitted to regional hospitals. The landslides struck several areas in Kerala's Wayanad district early Tuesday morning, catching people off guard or as they slept. Let's read ahead here. Ongoing bad weather was also complicating the rescue efforts. India's National Weather Office was predicting more rain for the rest of Tuesday. I will say a bit of a silver lining here. Kerala's government officials said at least 250 people have been rescued, but many more were still believed to be missing. And I do know that the number has gone up in terms of like the lives lost. So obviously, my condolences to the people of India going through this. I know that it hasn't been as bad since 2018, when more than 350 people were killed in massive floods. So obviously, it's very sad. It's very unfortunate. I'll keep you posted if there's any more news coming out of the situation. Hopefully it's good news. Hopefully, better things coming. But let's actually close on a good note. I feel like I dragged y'all through the abyss here, and it's been really dark and dim. But let's just let's do our last little meeting, last break. There we go, and we'll go ahead and close it out. And this is good news, I promise. I feel like we haven't had good news like this in a little bit, or I should say had it on a bit on the podcast. I feel like there have been some things, and sometimes I miss some stuff. You know what I mean? Good and bad things. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break. Okay. I believe, this is from Gizmodo. Love that title for your publisher, your media publishing, internet site, whatever. Disneyland workers ratify new contract after strike authorization vote. So hell yeah, we love it. We're getting union talk. Just a week after workers at Disney's Anaheim-based parks and hotels voted in favor of authorizing a strike that could have seen the first walkout at Disneyland in 40 years, the union coalition Disney Workers Rising has announced the ratification of a new 3-year contract. Sounds pretty good. The DWR, a coalition of 4 unions representing 14,000 workers at both Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure, the downtown Disney shopping and dining district between the two parks, and the various Disney-owned hotels in the area, announced this morning that the new contract will bring the minimum base wage rate for employees up to $24 an hour in 2024, effective immediately with the new contract, with most workers receiving a $6.10 beyond that over the term duration of the contract. Other gains in the contract include improvements to attendance and sick leave policies, which is very fucking important, as well as new premiums and increased longevity for senior cast members. Disney's catch-all term for employees at its parks, from cashiers to ride operators to custodians and candy makers. So we love to see this. This is some really good news to kind of close out on. It feels like it's been a minute since we had some good, wholesome union talk. Like I said, I know there's been some gains and shit like that happening, but I just haven't had the time to cover them. It's been busy, there's been a lot. And I feel like it's going to be pretty busy until we get to November. Shit, I'm going to be gone to November. I'll be gone to November. But anyway, I'm really happy to cover this. Happy to see Disney not fight over this, which makes sense because at the end of the day, these motherfuckers are making money. Like, they just fucking are, dude. Shit, we already talking about the Marvel money they're making and planning on making in the fucking future. Like, at the end of the day, let's make it so motherfuckers can pay their bills. You know, that's really what this is a fucking about. So I'm happy to cover some good news out of this shit. I know motherfuckers were already coming out in force after being, you know, authorized to strike. So I'm glad that it's like, hey, motherfuckers weren't playing up top, you know, with big corporate. They're like, let's just pay them some money. Let's just give them some fucking crumbs. Okay, please. We don't want to fucking do this again, all right? We don't want to have a Hollywood strike. We don't need that. So, yeah, good. You don't. Nobody does. All right. That's the episode. That's where I want to leave it for today. I mean, thanks so much for just listening to me, you know, rant and rave about dead raccoons and Charlie XCX. If you'd like to help out financially, I mean, today's a good time, you know, time's running out, but I mean, not really. I mean, just shout out to tomorrow, you know? So, hey, if you want to get a shout out in, that's top of the month. You know, say your name, you know, plug a project if you want. That's for my newsies. But, patreon.com/Isaiah News if you'd like to become one today. Let's see. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. And hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. It really helps out, you know. Just a little click, smash that little button, and hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Hopefully nothing mean, nothing crass, you know. And yeah, sharing is caring. But hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.